We're expecting our first real blast of winter in a couple days, and like it or not, that means I've only got a few days to get the house cleaned up and prepped and correct some of the remaining problems I found over the summer before I freeze my giblets off. So today I'm going to walk you through some of the things I like to do around the house to prepare for winter with the help of my friends from GE Sealants and get everything cleaned up and sealed for good. Now the first thing I like to do is walk around the house and look at the windows and doors and look around all the trim and casings and make sure that everything is sealed and tight. If water gets in and it freezes, it'll expand it, cause problems. So the best thing to do is to use some sealant and get that sealed up so you can't get water in there. And so that's what I'm doing around these windows and around my garage door where I also have a problem. For this, I'm using GE Sealant siliconized acrylic primarily because it's paintable. So even though I hate the current color around this trim, I can match it for now until we get around to painting the rest of the house. After going through that, I like to move on to the gutters. Cleaning and sealing your gutters makes sure that your gutters are working properly and can drain the water away from your house as the snow, rain, and freezing rain thaw and melt. If you don't have clean and sealed gutters, the water can turn into ice and build up in the gutters, which can build into ice dams. That backs up under your shingles, into your roof, and can cause major water damage if it drips down inside. Not only that, but gutters that are frozen solid get really heavy and can separate from the house, which can fall, break, cause major problems, and you're left with a big headache that you have to clean up later. Dripping gutters can actually be just as dangerous. As they continue to drip, they build these big icicles and eventually they'll break free, and if you happen to be underneath it, people actually get killed by it, which is crazy, but it happens. And if you have little kids around your house, they always seem to be attracted to big icicles, so they're going to want to play around it, so you got to just make sure that you're protected so that something doesn't happen to you or to them. So making sure that your gutters are cleaned and sealed properly is really important, and I like to use the GE Sealant's specialty gutter sealant for this. Super strong. You can apply it on dry or wet metal, and it's rain ready in 30 minutes. You want to focus on any areas where there's seams in your gutters, if there are any, and specifically at the end caps and downspouts, because those are the areas where you're most likely to have a leak. The next thing I like to do is change my air filters on my HVAC system. I'm constantly telling people to do this, and you should be doing it regularly anyway, but it's especially important as you transition from air conditioning to heat, because you want to make sure that everything is breathing and working properly, and if it's struggling, you're going to have problems. So make sure that you change them out at least every couple months, if not sooner. Sometimes when your furnace isn't working properly, it's just because it can't breathe. So replacing your air filter is an easy way to make sure that doesn't happen. Another thing I recommend that you do is to flush your hot water tank. Most homeowners I talk to have never drained or flushed their hot water tank, and I suppose that's understandable because nobody tells you that you need to do that. But flushing your water tank is really simple, and it helps prolong the life of the tank, especially if you have harder water. Over time, those minerals build up and they can create problems which can lead to leaks. So periodically draining your water tank doesn't allow those sediments to build up and cause problems that can end up shortening the life of the tank. I did a whole video on how to replace this water tank relatively recently, so I don't really need to drain this one because it's pretty new, but I still recommend that you do it. So check out that video if you want to learn more about your water heater, how it works, and how to fix it if you need to. You can find it in my TikTok feed if you just scroll down. Next, I recommend that you do your best to patch any cracks or chips in concrete around your house, in your sidewalks or your driveway or whatever. The first owner of this house must have had a freaking concrete company because the driveway is massive. I mean, you could just park an airplane on this thing. There's no way I could afford to re-pour this, so I need to try to do my best to prolong the life of it as much as possible, which means there's a lot of cracks that need to be filled in. And to do that, I'm using GE's advanced silicone concrete sealant because it's shrink and crack proof and it's permanently flexible. So as this moves around a little bit, it's going to move with it, and it'll keep the water out, which is important because what happens is the water gets in under the concrete and the water will freeze, which will cause the concrete to heave, then it will melt, and then it will settle back down, then water will get in it again, and it'll just cause the concrete to be permanently displaced, and it'll become a nightmare. So the easiest and the best thing to do is to prevent that from happening, and that's why I'm using this product to seal the cracks. So there's a handful of things I like to do around the house to get my house prepped for winter. Now, if you want to check a full winter prep checklist, I have one on my website that has these and a bunch of other things that you should be doing around your house, so go check that out if you want, or don't. It's up to you. So thanks to GE Sealants for helping me get these projects knocked out and sealed for good. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.